Here's the automation that I've been working on. Most of it is really prompting. Here is our final uploaded video on YouTube. The HD version is still processing. Look at this POV lab guy on TikTok. You wake up during Black Plague. This guy has, I don't know, maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21 videos and 474K followers. I have Telegram trigger. When I connect it with the AI agent, I do things like create a POV story, Marco Polo negotiating trade routes in the Silk Road. That will convert it into stories and it'll have like scenes, multiple scenes. We are aiming for 30-second video. So each scene will be a 5-second video. And we are creating the first frames for the video using image generation. Based on those images, we are creating videos from those images using a video model. And at the same time that process is running, we are creating sound effects for each individual scenes. And finally, we are creating the final video, combining all the videos together and then publishing to YouTube. Here's a bit more detailed description. Telegram chat input creates the story and scenes. And it goes to replicate. We are using Black Forest Labs Flex model, and then images are created that's passed on to Kling. This is actually using Pi API because their official version is so expensive, but you can actually use Runway ML, Hailuo, or Minimax, basically their Minimax model. You can actually direct them. And Kling also, you can direct the camera movements. Pass on the screen captions, AI sound effects are created, prompts, and then that is passed on to 11 Labs. And then finally, we are using another service to create the final video, to put all the scene videos together and then publish to YouTube. I'm going to kick it off. Just open this, say test tab, and start listening for the Telegram trigger. On my Telegram, I'll send this message. And you can see that it's been captured. Create POV video or Marco Polo trading routes. Let's just pin that for a second so that we don't have to keep executing that every time. So this is the Telegram node. For this to work, you need a Telegram account. You need to go here and start a chat with this guy here called Boatfather. And then when you start your chat, initially you may see something like this. Click on message, then click on new bot. It will ask you a few questions and then I just said faceless bot, and that username is already taken, and then it will finally give you a use access token for that bot. Once you register the bot and give a unique name, then you create a new credential and then you paste that access token there. I have already created the thing, and now we have the input here. Let's just run the next thing. This is the AI agent. Let's rename it to story creation agent. So the story agent, what it does is, here's the prompt. It has two parts. I have a system prompt here. You're an expert in creating POV viral TikTok videos. You can get this in the Discord or in my school community. Your task is to create images, or you can just copy paste from here or scroll down or download the template and all the prompts will be there. Your task is to create images for the first frame that will be used as a reference to create videos of 5 seconds length and will be stitched to create the final 30-second video. Output in JSON and some more instructions here. So what it does is creates a story. Let's run it and you'll see execution is complete and JSON creates a JSON. It's not very readable, so I'm converting that into an object. If I run it, you will see in the table I have a story. They have a video caption here. POV Marco Polo negotiating trade routes in the Silk Road, and the full story. In the bustling bazaar of Silk Road, Marco Polo stands amidst a vibrant market filled with the scent of spices. He engages in negotiations with blah, blah, blah. So in the AI agent here, I have said that only create 2 scenes because this is testing. Otherwise, you will run up the bill for your video generation model. When testing, I was spending a lot of that. Is the output here. And you have 2 scenes. So because of that constraint that I have given, remember to remove that before actually putting into live. Just remove those 2 lines where it says only generate 2 scenes. You have 2 scenes, and we also have an image prompt and a video direction prompt. It creates an image prompt and a corresponding video direction prompt. So let's have a look at this. First person perspective, POV shot of Marco Polo's hand, light skin tone, and more descriptive description, because this is optimized for the image generation, and I have set the creativity to a slightly higher so it can decide the best way to put that together. I've tested being very specific and giving loose descriptions. For this use case, this is working for me. We'll see when we generate finally how that turns out. We also have a video direction prompt here. The camera captures a first person view POV shot of a hand holding a scroll as Marco Polo gestures towards the colorful fabrics, negotiating, blah, blah, blah. So that's a video prompt. And you have a full story here as well. And creating scene images. So now that is one big response from there. So if I play this, this is what this basically does, is splits it into 2 items. So you can see in table here 2 items. So negotiating trade and interacting with traders. Then this one is actually a replicate call. Go to, which is this service. You can use any sort of like service. You feel free to replace that. I have tested on Fal and on Fireworks. Fireworks is cheap. I just sign up and get the claimed. I don't think I ever added any credit card or anything. I can still generate. But the problem with lower models is that you can't be sure whether it is because your prompt or is it because of your model. Because I wasted a lot of time thinking that my prompts are not correct, but it was just a matter of picking a better image model. So yeah, sometimes prompts are not the problem, it's just picking up the right model. But then again, when I'm testing, I'm using FlexSnell. There are other providers. Fal AI is another one. There's Together AI and the Fireworks, as I mentioned. So I think the cheapest would be the Fireworks AI, but Replicate creates better images because I have access to the better models. Fal also has it, but charges probably, if I'm not mistaken, per megapixel. So generating scene images. I have Replicate models, Black Forest Labs, FlexSnell. I am going to do FlexDev for better quality. So there's FlexSnell, FlexDev, Flex Pro, and there are like different versions as well, 1.1, etc. And also Flux Ultra. Fireworks has quantized models which are not great. It is FlexDev, a slightly lesser size model. The images aren't great, but that's what you have to give there, and that's the URL. And the input looks like something like this. If you're just using the template, you don't have to worry about it. This is the first prompt, first person perspective, POV shot of Marco Polo's hand, and the first scene image prompt. Let's execute that. Pin it so we don't execute that again. This is a wait node. You can add it from wait and give it 20 seconds, or select minutes, hours, days. It waits for 20 seconds. The first call initiates the request to replicate, and it comes back with a URL. These are the cancel, get URL, etc. for that request. And if you use that get URL, you'll get the image. So in the next, we use JSON URL, which is that get URL, and you are making another HTTP request. These 2 nodes here are HTTP requests here. And as you can see, you can put the method, the URL, authentication mechanism, etc. So for replicate, we are using, again, generic credential type, header auth, and then header account, auth account I have selected it as. Probably name it a little bit better, replicate maybe. And you have to pass authorization, the value of the replicate API key, which you can get from API tokens. Create a new token and copy that. Simple. That's how you authenticate with replicate. We have the image URLs. If I just copy that output from replicate, the first one initiated the generation. The second one is using that get URL where the images are supposed to be once the generation is complete. I'm going to copy paste that into a new browser window. It's walking through the bazaar. The reason it doesn't have that wake up sequence is that I have said, again, for testing purposes, I have said that you can skip that somewhere here. You can skip those steps. That's in the user prompt. I have said only create 2 scenes during testing to cover the story, skip the waking up bed scene and going to bed. Because when you animate it, it's not that interesting, so it doesn't have just lying down and animating it slightly. I wanted to see for other scenes, probably maybe there is more dynamism where, especially when other characters are involved. So for example, I generated using Kling, this guy threatening me to go back or something like that. This for if you're just lying down, and when I'm testing, I will just get a lying down, slightly animated shot, wasting my video generation credit. The same in Hi-Luo, you can sign up to their front end rather than the API. If you play around, you can actually get free credits. And you can make sure you can play around with prompts. Let's have a look at the second image that we have. The second image is something like that. See, there's not much dynamism because there needs to be other characters, etc. So you might need to adjust the prompt slightly. And now I am going to generate the video. Just going to execute that. And for generating video, we are using a service called Works by API, and they have different models here, video models, Wangs, Sky Reels. I've tried Kling, Hailuo, and this one I think couldn't get that working, and also Sky Reels I think it didn't work. So those two processes for creating videos from that images, they are running in our workflow. That may take about 6 to 8 minutes. I'm just going to here. I have another wait node to wait for 10 minutes. I am going to wait for it and come back. I'm going to run it manually. And once it finishes, I'm going to come back and continue the video. This thing is still waiting, but I checked my dashboard and this has processing. I'm going to stop that and disable that for the moment and get the videos from here. It doesn't have any inputs, so I have to play that again to make the data move over. If I open that node and just say test step, you can see that I am getting the output success. You have the task ID, the image URL, and the video URL. So that will be the first scene. As actually he's walking through the bazaar, and they have some dynamism there, not bad. And the second one, the quality of video depends on the quality of the image. Create a better model to create the image. And the second one would be this one here. Let's see. Yeah, this doesn't have any, like others are moving around. This guy's not moving. We can create better video direction prompts. Yeah, the camera captures the first person view, POV shot of hand holding a scroll. As Marco Polo just gestures towards colorful fabrics, negotiating with two merchants. Make sure these merchants are present. Use a better model to make sure that happens, or play around with the prompt a little bit there, and otherwise it wouldn't work. The next one is handshake with the trader. Make sure the trader exists. For example, in the split out, if you go to first person perspective of Marco Polo's hand extending to shake with the trader, that didn't really, so we have to tweak the image prompt here to make sure, maybe just saying in the prompt something like, make sure all elements in the video direction prompt are present in the image. Maybe you don't even have to do that, just use a better model. DeepSeek is pretty good at this, but I haven't had the time to integrate DeepSeek into this yet. Maybe as a second version, I will do that. Now we have the video. Let's in that because we don't want it to run again. Sound generation. So again, we will play that. So while that is playing, we will look at the prompt here. You're an expert in creating prompts for audio AI to generate audio that can go with videos created from images using image to video. I'm just giving it a full context. And your task is to create audio sound generation prompts for labs. Yeah, I'm already giving the image prompt, and we are giving the stories, all the context of the full story, so that it understands what sort of general theme that it should maintain when generating the audio. And we are using 11 labs for that in the next node. This creates the prompt, something like this. Capture the vibrant sounds of bustling Silk Road Bazaar in 1270. Layer the lively chatter of merchants negotiating, etc. We'll see how that turns out. So we have two sounds for two scenes. Pin that in the next node, just turning it into a JavaScript object. If I run that, it's much easier to read in a table audio prompt, and we have the 11 labs API keys here. The thing about the videos is we have to go to PyAPI if you want to use this service. Like I do, you just have to top it up here. Create it's PyAPI AI, and then you top it up using your Stripe account, or you keep topping it up. You can also do subscriptions, but I don't know how cost effective they are. That's something that I forgot to mention there. But in audio, 11 Labs, we are using this service called 11 Labs. It's basically a audio generation. So you can generate sounds, and also you can do text to speech, and you can use specific sounds and voices. You can clone your voice and things like that. So we are using not the text to speech, we are using the sound generation. So instead of text to speech, this will be sound generation. And authentication, API key, if you want, you can use authentication. Don't try to use mine. I'm going to delete it. Let's have a look at the request. This is again an HTTP node, which just makes an HTTP request. And API 11 lags, by the way, all prompts will be available in the template. You can download limited free stuff. Join the Discord for more, or my school community. I'm creating a school I'll be moving over some of the premium stuff there. So here are the audio stuff. Once that is done, this comes as a binary. I'm hosting it on a server on a VPS. I don't really have a cloud URL that can be passed to the next step. So this is why I'm using a read-write files. It writes those binary files to a path on the local file system. So I'm going to pin that here, and then I'm going to play that. No path to node. I connected this message, so I have to change it to Telegram trigger here. Text, this one. Change that to expression instead of that. The session ID, there's no session ID. Add this date here. It's unique. Going to write that onto the file. I don't want to run it again, so I'm going to pin this. Now we have to combine everything. We are preparing data from both the branches, image generation and the scene video generation and sound effects branch. I'm using an aggregate node. It picks up certain fields. This is a big object. We only need the video URLs. So that's why we're using the aggregate node. I'm saying only pick the video URLs from the input field and rename that and take those video data output video URL. If I see this data output video URL into just video URLs. So you can see that it collects from those two branches. Video URLs are here and the audio URLs. Now I will explain this hook. If you are hosted locally on a VPS and I don't want to use Cloudinary or Google Drive or anything like that, it's a very easy workaround. Because I am writing the files onto the disk, that's the file names. I'm making a request back to the same VPS server using a webhook, same where the N8N is hosted. And I'm creating a webhook trigger. And for this to work from here on, I have to activate the workflow. So I'm going to activate it. In the combined scenes data, I'm passing the audio, video, and the scene caption. So it's in this format here. So if that's the webhook URL for retrieving audio file, and this will, when evaluated, it will look like this. We are passing a file name, and when the next bit runs, it will access that audio file over the internet because it's a cloud service. Yeah. We are basically serving a local file over the internet. So for that to happen, that's the webhook. We are just putting it as get. Path is audio. You'll get that path audio at the end. Webhook, no authentication. We can add authentication if you want, but to keep things simple, what we have a next code node. What it does is it gets that last bit from it looks at what file name, what audio file are we requesting. We get that and we'll just read that file path and return that in a JSON format. So that's basically it. We have a code and then finally it reads the file path and it reads from disk and it will send it as a binary, as a attachment, so you can stream over the network connection. We are using a service called Creatomate. I have my own service. I don't really, when I create image videos, I have my own thing which I haven't published yet, but for you I'm just using Creatomate because it might be easier for you to understand. You go here, get started, create a template. You can create new, maybe start from a template. I think that I used this one, the first one. You can also start from scratch because I have done this already. You can also copy paste this. Click here, get the code, copy everything, create a new template, take the vertical format, create template. And if I go to this code here and paste the thing, it will looks exactly the same. For you, when you do that, this image or video might not be available because that's uploaded to my account, so that it will be non-existent for you. But after that, how do you use it? Different compositions, text, overlay, video, and audio. We are passing it from our workflow. You can add transitions and preset templates. Press on use template, copy this code. I have already done this in the workflow, so you just have to replace the thing. So if you see the content, it's a post method. That's the URL where you post the data. I'm only giving the first two. The rest I haven't generated it, so you will have to do this. I can't give it now because the process will fail. So basically, you'll have to fill that in here. For the final thing you download, it will have those filled in. For demo purposes, I have removed it. That should be audio URLs 1. There's a mistake. All right. Okay, so everything is green. I am going to test this now. You get a final URL, which won't be ready because the video is still rendering. I'm just going to pin that to make sure that doesn't get run again. And once that finishes, actually, we need a wait for, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Let's give it 4 minutes. If it has been created yet. Pretty fast. Yeah, if there was another character there, the rest are blank because we don't have the scene videos yet. That was 1 minute, maybe 3 minutes is enough. I'm going to disable that for now. This is the next part. Next bit is the publish to YouTube bit, and I've tried using YouTube Node, but it doesn't work on locally hosted N8N. It works on the cloud N8N versions. I'm using 2 separate HTTP requests to upload and download the video. We now have that video generated at this URL here, and we actually have to download it and pass it over to the YouTube API for it to be uploaded. To upload to Google API, you need a client ID and client secret. Go to console.cloud.google.com and create a new project. I have the N8N connection set up. Go to dashboard, add the YouTube data, enable APIs and services, search for YouTube data API. And after that, you'll have to create new credentials, choose OAuth2, you choose web application, and then you pass the host N8N URL there. Add that URL here, press create, then you get the client ID and the client secret. So that is what you add into your HTTP thing, credential type. Here you simply select predefined. In the HTTP request, select YouTube OAuth2 API. Then create a new credentials, add that. Yeah, this should be your redirect URL actually. You have to copy this and go back here and change the redirect URLs here. This should be this URL. And client ID and client secret, that should be these ones here. Client ID, just copy this, and client secret, just copy this. And that is pretty much it. I'm just going to delete this because I don't need this. Once that is done, name that appropriately, click save. You have to first create an upload link, and then you stream your uploading the actual data for the file into that upload file. This will create the upload link where you pass your POV title, description, etc. Title should be the scene caption. If you go to the first agent we created, the video caption, that should be Marco Polo negotiating trade routes. And description maybe is the actual video description. So we are just going to do that again. Don't need tags, and just testing it. POV 24 category ID is entertainment. You can look it up. You can just ask ChatGPT what the different category IDs and categories are. And everything else is there. And public stats, viewable, true, privacy status, private. From the combine scenes node, Automate has given us this URL. So giving that URL in the URL field, going to do a get, and it's publicly available, no authentication necessary. Test that step and you should get that as a binary file. Now we have to make another request to YouTube API using the location from the previous create YouTube link. This is where you stream the data. We're taking that JSON headers location and using the YouTube API credentials, and content type should be video WebM, and use N8N binary file. Specify the field where the binary data is tested. It should be uploaded to YouTube. All right, now that has been uploaded, status, and if I go to the channel content, refresh that. All right, here is our final uploaded video on YouTube. The SD version is still processing. The standard definition appears low quality. Processing standard. All you have to do now is to review and make those videos public. That is basically it. So everything in the description, check the description for Discord templates, better prompts, and updated versions in my Discord. Also check out my school community. My school community, I'm just starting out. There will be a ton of things I've been doing over the last 2 years. Multiple SaaS products, AI automations, and open source tools, etc. So yeah, make sure you join all of the links provided, and I'll see you in the next one.